back then people were taking huge personal risks to fight for their freedoms and for their democratic rights. And for me, the lesson for today is that every day we have to fight for those democratic rights. We should never take them for granted.
A date to celebrate bringing Europe together in freedom. But a day also to remind us that Europe faces new walls, divisions, and inequalities. Our political family stands in the front line for democracy, solidarity and hope.
Der November 1989 steht für den Auszug aus der Angst. Daraus folgte Freiheit. Frei denken, frei handeln, frei sein. Und heute weiß ich, Mut braucht es für alle Veränderungen. Und wenn wir heute über Klimakrise und Digitalisierung reden, die großen Veränderungen, Transformationen unserer Gesellschaft, dann braucht es Mut und nicht Angst. Und deswegen macht es sicher Sinn, einmal danach zu schauen, wie haben diejenigen, die es damals gemacht haben und 30 Jahre lang Transformation erlebt haben, es getan, wie haben sie gehandelt, was können wir von ihnen lernen?
I can't describe really my feelings. It's something unreal for me. It's unthinkable.
At the time, as a small kid, I did not understand how important the collapse of the Berlin Wall was for our lives, but since then I realized that without that event, this flag would never be possible to be in my room.
I'm standing in Leipzig today where 30 years ago a lot of people went to the streets and protesting the regime, often risking their lives and risking repression, and yet they went to the street and said, okay, no, I want to really have a change of the regime, I'm fed up with this, I want to have a change, I want to have democracy. And because of those brave people all over Europe, but also here in Germany, we can live in a united Europe today. And I still think this is one of the biggest achievements we ever had.
The tearing down of the wall was a big deal for my family. I was 4. After a few years, I fully understood what had happened. This historical event changed the way we live, for the better. I hope that we don't have to live in a divided Europe ever again.
On the 19th August of 1989, Hungarian authorities allowed citizens from East Germany to cross the border into Austria. They were not shooting at them. Austrian citizens were putting signs in the forest where to go to come into the West. With this event, the end of the Iron Curtain started, and nearly 3 months later, the Berlin Wall fell.
Unbelievable, I suppose, now that the wall, the real
come
wall,
together, east and west, in a spontaneous outburst of emotion.
Ich bin auch ein Berliner. 30 years ago, I witnessed the fall of the wall. Now, as a Green politician, I'm working on the reunification of our European societies.
In 1989, I was only 8 years old. But in 2004, for me, the second part of the peaceful revolution, Eastern Europe joined the European Union. And this is what we have to deliver also in the future. And luckily, within our name, the German Green Party is this movement for freedom and anchored for the whole future as an Alliance 90, Bündnis 90. We try to stand up to our name, to an alliance of all people in society, and this is also what we owe to 1989.
When it fell, I couldn't believe my eyes. I could only do one thing, rush to Berlin. 2 weeks later, I was there with family and friends because we wanted to see it for ourselves. That was so unbelievable.
In the thousands, they are here in the tens of thousands.
30 years ago tonight, I traveled to Berlin to witness the end of the wall. Happiness, hope, joy was a part of it. It was a night to celebrate, and we celebrate also tonight.
Life-changing experience to witness that everything is really possible was something that affected me deeply and changed my life in that way, that I knew I have seen changes come and more changes will come. So, I mean,
at that time I was 30 years old. I grew up with the wall. 30 years after, walls stand still in Europe and in the world, between North and South, East and West, certainly in Belgium, between French and Dutch speakers. But Ecolo and Groen, we fight every day to live better together, samen ensemble.
What I remember from the images on TV is people happy, celebrating. I felt empathy towards them, but I didn't have a clear understanding of what was happening. 30 years later, I have a much clearer understanding of what was happening back then. And what I can confirm right now is that my first impression was right, that I'm convinced about how important it is to preserve what does not need an adjective to be explained, and that is freedom.